Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to the Blue Door Neighborhood Center. My name is Nakaya Rapier, and I serve as one of the health educators with the Blue Door Neighborhood Center. Tonight, we're so excited to have Dr. Abari Cartman, the Association of Black Psychologists, and so many of our friends here to kick off the second of the Hip Hop Wellness Series. We are surely in for a great treat and some great thoughtful dialogue. Before we get into it, I just want to give a quick overview of the Blue Door Neighborhood Center. For those of you who may be not aware of the Blue Door Neighborhood Center, we are Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois' first ever neighborhood center. And what we do, we love to positively impact community health. And we do so in a variety of ways through health and wellness focused programs, classes, workshops, and events, much like this one. These are offered to anyone in the community at no cost. You do not have to have our insurance in order to participate. And so we would love for you to share this great resource with any of your friends and neighbors. Quick thing, we are located in 3 physical locations, although during COVID, we've been operating in this virtual space, and we love to do it. We're in the Pullman, Morgan Park, and South Lawndale communities in Chicago, and we're so happy that you're here. I just want to give a quick shout out to any of my teammates that are on, as well as our director and manager of health education. All right, let's get it going. So, just want to give a highlight. After this program, you're going to be so excited to join us for more. We have two that Dr. Abari is going to be leading in April. Our Hip Hop Wellness series will continue with gun violence prevention and emotional intelligence of men, as well as a Health Matters mental strategies to improve nutrition and physical health part 2. If you missed number 1, we have to get you the recording because it was amazing. And finally, in addition to Women's History Month, this month we're also highlighting National Nutrition Month. And we have one more event we would love to share with you, and that is Nutrition Expo Employment and Training. If you're not already, please follow us at Blue Door Center IL on Facebook. And please visit our website at Blue Door Center IL. We're almost here, guys. Before you leave today, we would love if you would participate in our survey. Go ahead, grab your phone. If you take a picture, the link will come right up. If not, go to surveymonkey.com. The link is right here, and we'll also post it in the chat. And finally, a little virtual housekeeping just to get you acquainted with this virtual space. This meeting is being recorded, and you can change your view, although when we're sharing our screen, it's going to look like this. When we're not sharing our screen, you have an option to be in the grid view or active presenter. The lines will be muted, but if there is a time where Dr. Abari or guests will ask for feedback, you can feel free to unmute yourself. And the chat box, the chat box, the chat box. We will be utilizing the chat box throughout the night. So to go ahead and get us acquainted, find that chat box. Let us know your name and where you're logging in from. We'd love to say hello to you. And Doc, with that, I'm going to pass the virtual floor over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nakaya. Thank you, Blue Door, for having us yet again. Always excited to collaborate with y'all. I always just appreciate that y'all really just give us space to go there. It's gonna be the theme of our series. Y'all let us go there and it be with compassion and patience and understanding, but we really get to tackle the difficult, controversial, important, critical, urgent topics of our community in terms of health, mental health, spirituality, emotional health. So happy to be here yet again, gathering with some brilliant folks to dig into some really difficult topics. But again, also urgent and relevant, just like the rest of them. So happy to be here, and I'm ready to get started. I'm gonna say a lot less this time than you've ever heard before. Watch me. I'm gonna challenge myself to say like 30 words today. I'm gonna like mark them off when I finish because we got some fantastic guests today. I really just cannot wait to hear from them. And to get us started, though, to frame the conversation, I'm going to start with some music. I'm going to play a video. I cannot even remember the name. It's an artist that I use sometimes when I work with young men and helping them understand their relationship to women, to reconceptualize, to undo some of the damage that happens to us as we are learning to engage and be in relationship with women. I have a lot of material that I use that sometimes, with the best intentions, it's important to gather and run stuff by my sisters and my mamas and my aunties to make sure we're doing stuff in right order. So I consider this a privilege tonight to be able to convene the conversation, but really to just allow your expertise to help shape the kinds of conversations that we all need to be having with our young people, young men, young women, our little cousins and little brothers and sisters around the use of imagery and hip hop and rap music and the ways that it can be healing and productive, but also potentially damaging in ways that we want to protect ourselves from, protect our children from. So all of that we're going to get into. So I'm going to start with this video. This is a video. The name of the song is called Woman God. And the reason I'm starting here is because I want Freddie also. I can't wait to show her. Because part of the framework, part of the intention for this conversation is to invoke the presence of the divine feminine, power in the universe. It's not even just a light, conversation. This is helping us be in alignment with that cosmic force that holds the world and the planets together. That in any tradition, any indigenous understanding, the power of the female presence in the cosmos is central. So I want to tap into that power, so that healing power, that moving power, that restorative power. And so the reason I picked this song to start with is because he's speaking to that to some degree, and at the same time, doing it in ways that I find problematic. So we're gonna get right to it. I don't really like to ease into things. So we're gonna use the chat a lot. So when we play music, please, if you hear a line, if you hear a bar, if you see an image that you like, make sure you make a comment about it. I'm not gonna say what lines in here I find particularly chauvinistic, but if you hear them, out. Men do it wrong, even with good intention. There's a couple moments in this song that were a little cringy. So I want to extract the parts of it that were attempting to honor women and to connect that honoring to the divine feminine presence in all of us, but also begin the complicated conversations of how to do it in a way that has consistency and integrity all the way through. This is called Woman God that we're going to start today with.
Single mind, raising 5 children. Give a team out the Nobel Peace Prize. Nigga, fuck Bob Dylan. He don't give a shit anyway. We point a shit anyway. Birth the whole world, turn around and fix me a plate. Not because you have to, just because it be in your nature. Sick to stay up. Chicks are dated. Chicks my niggas dated. All treated us the greatest woman. I love you, I love you, I fucking love you, I trust you. It must be us two up against any squad, any trouble. I swear I kill a motherfucker for you. I swear I kill a motherfucker for you. I'm being rare, you my source of power. Sitting still, I want all your power. My shorty will meet me in the shower. Woman, 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 God. 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 This for Serena Williams, this for Venus and millions. Women in villages, matriarchies leading the illest. I make a lot of harsh references to fucking bitches. That shit never come from disrespect, I promise this is just a rap kid with dialogue talking to niggas. They just pretty guns for us, I'm just here witness. I don't care, we talking Christians or any religions. We all born from women, nobody here is different. But it's my fault if nobody hears the difference. I do my thing, it ain't nobody here business. But it's a lot I wanna say in my years living. You be crazy thinking the kid isn't really listening. You know I'm blazing conic, come up phrases iconic. Woman is God, baby. Paige and Rihanna. Fucking challenge me. Pull up a page in the Bible. Fucking do it, I dare you. It's the same as I do. Woman, 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 God. 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 God. Hold up. My only job make good shit, not corny. I don't know how to do nothing but be on the mic performing. Piss in the street if you want to, baby. I stand and block you. I hold your head back. Throw up if you got to. Know that I got you. Know that the macho shit is over and done with. Me and my niggas are run with. Society as a whole is fuck. We staying above it. Like said, I love you. The girls the fuck that they ain't in love with. Until the ones that lay hands on women, you sucker. If I see you, I'm gonna touch you. Real shit. Possible anymore to tell you how much I love you. Find the ways to explore it. I promise to stay up under you. I don't have to be bougie. I lay with you on the floor. This how a nigga wanna grow old. This how a nigga get the dough. Get the strength to hit the cold. I trust you, baby.
So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce some of the godly women, some of the powerful, brilliant women in my circle that I'm grateful to have. We can comment on the video if y'all want to at some other point, but I want to open the floor to make sure people know who y'all are. I'm going to start in the spirit of the imagery in that video with Dr. Alexis Davis, who I've met a couple months ago. And when I met her, she was like living in America in Little Rock, Arkansas, somewhere, teaching at Jackson State, just a whole regular old American woman. And then at one point, she was talking about doing some playing and some stuff around hip hop. She's a hip hopologist and a clinical psychologist. I'm going to ask her to share more about her work, but it was a random conversation one day. And she said, I'm going to move to Tanzania. I was like, who planned? And I thought it was a joke. I thought she did a whole GoFundMe. I gave her some money that I thought I was going to get back when she decided that she didn't want to go to Tanzania no more. But she is now currently logging in from Tanzania, where it is 1 o'clock in the morning, where she decided to uproot her life and go do her work on the African soil. And I'm honored to hear some of the things you've learned in that journey and how it connects to your work here and the transformation that you're undergoing in this moment and how it, speaks to, the topic of the day. So without further ado, Dr. Alexis Davis, can you share more about who you are and what your work is and what you're bringing to the conversation today?
Yes, peace everyone. Before I speak, I just want to give thanks specifically to my ancestors for allowing this conversation for me to be present, and everyone, ancestors and the ancestors that got together to make this opportunity happen, and give thanks. So just wanted to do that before I even talk. Yes, so yes, I am in Tanzania, Dr. Cartman. I was not playing. And it has been it's been an experience. There's really not even a word that I can say that would describe the experience. It's just been beautiful. I came here 3 years ago to celebrate graduation, and I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with, I don't know, it just was the connection I felt, the peace that I felt. So being here this time, I wanted to be very intentional with learning more about music and how music has been a healing conduit for Africans who were born in Tanzania. And comparing that to Africans who were born in America. So hip hop is huge here. And then there's different styles of Tanzanian hip hop music. And it's been very interesting listening to the music. There's a music called Singeli, and it sounds like actually Chicago music. Like it reminded me of Watch My Feet, watch the old song. Everybody remember that? And actually I was telling Dr. Cartman about, like, I was at the beach working out one day, and one of my, yes, bongo flavor is another type type of music that's really notable here and known. But I was at the beach, and one of my friends who's Tanzanian just started singing "Watch My Feet, Watch My Feet," and so it's just really dope how we can connect through music. Even if we don't have similar experiences, or even if we don't even understand each other's experiences, we've been able to say, hey, do you know this song? Do you know this song? And that serves as a conduit for connection and communication. So I'm really grateful to be here. I'm really grateful for hip hop and just the connection that it creates to all Africans across the diaspora. So Tanzania is on the east coast of Africa. It's East Africa. I'm answering questions as I see them pop up in the chat, but that's a little
He's
bit about.
asking where in Tanzania. Where are you at in Tanzania?
Okay. Off the grid. No, but no, Sharon, I'm in Dar es Salaam.
Cool. Tell us about the hip hopology. What does that mean to you? How did you merge clinical psychology and hip hop, and what does that look like in the healing work wherever you end up at?
Correct. Thank you for bringing me around to that. So hip hop to healed is the theory that I have developed and am developing. I feel like that'll be a lifelong development. And I've researched hip hop. That's what I chose to focus on throughout my PhD program. So my dissertation was looking at the connection between attitudes and perceptions of contemporary rap music and its impact on self-esteem, racial identity development, and then racial biasing. So pretty much all of them fancy words to say, I looked at how people internalize rap music and how that impacts them as a being, and how it impacts their interaction with other beings. So
What did you
that
find,
is.
if you don't mind? What did you find? What did you discover in that, real quick, if you can?
I discovered. So first of all, I didn't discover what I thought I would discover, and I discovered that a lot of women. My statistics, I had way more women in my study than men. Two, I also found that even though more of my participants stated that they liked empowerment rap music, they would come up to me afterwards, and women and men, and say, well, I really like misogynistic rap music, and I find that that's what I listen to most. But I feel like if I would have checked that, then people would have looked at me X, Y, and Z type of way. So I also found that through categorizing rap music, we may have created like biases towards certain types of rap music and not being able to see the full spectrum of categorizations of rap music, because I believe that there's both ends of the spectrum, if you believe in positive, negative, good, or bad, in each categorization. So all of that to say, what hip hop and healing looks like to me is really looking at how we're internalizing the lyrics, how we're internalizing the imagery, and how much we know of the connection between hip hop and our roots, and stemming all of that together to create healing, to break down why we're listening to certain lyrics, how is that impacting us in our current life situations, and even previous life experiences. So, summing that up. There's so much I could say, but I don't want to talk too long.
I love it. We're gonna come back to it. I'm particularly interested in what that looks like in practice, in the room with young people, one-on-one or otherwise. But to that question, I also a couple years ago met Dr. Adia Winfrey, Dr. Dia, who is created what I know to be the earliest curriculum around hip hop and healing. I see a lot more stuff popping up now, but hype was the first thing that I found. And even when I go look at other things, like people still refer to hype as one of the sort of stalwart programs. So I got to witness her sort of develop, demonstrating pieces of it here in Chicago, and it was, I guess, elementary schools. So like the range of it was really amazing, and her depth of knowledge and passion around the art form, and then to watch her grow and run for Congress, and like I can't even follow her career right now. She's just using hip hop in so many different ways, from healing to political activism to community building. So I had to I'm so grateful that she was able to join us today. But to the idea of like, what is it? How do you manifest this? Be from curriculum to the streets to the classrooms. Can you share with us who you are, what your work is, and talk about Hype a little bit, Dr. Dia?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. And Dr. Alexis Davis, we need to connect because I'm all kind of inspired over here. That's just wonderful. I am coming to you guys straight from Talladega, Alabama. I am Dr. Dia Winfrey. A lot of people know me as Dr. Dia, and I am the author, founder, developer of the Hype Healing Young People Through Empowerment curriculum and movement. And Hype really was birthed from my lifelong journey and love of hip hop culture. Um, it sounds, when you tell my story and I'm listening back to it, it is kind of like, well, how did you get there? But hip hop politicized me. I was a teen in the 90s and grew to Pac. And when Brenda's Got a Baby was on the radio, I was a 12-year-old girl with a 12-year-old classmate who was pregnant. And so the power of hip hop to foster discussions was my reality, even at the time when rap was considered a fad, was definitely not held in any sort of esteem as we see it today. So, um, I believe that everything is divine and destined, and I feel like this is part of my destiny. Growing up to Pac in the 90s, I became an activist at 13, community organizer. And so politics was always a part of my journey, but I'm a healer. And so that's what led me down the road of earning my PsyD. And so um, upon completing my degree and having Hype as my dissertation, which was a curriculum, immediately I had opportunities and I was able to publish my dissertation. It became my first book and I got a lot of attention very fast. And so that put me on the map. And the fact that it was, the earliest published curriculum that had hip hop therapy in the title, it was great timing, but it was also necessary for things that we would see coming down the pike. The thing with Hype is that I intentionally included discussions about oppression in every single session, because we can't talk about healing Black youth, particularly Black males 13 to 22 who are engaged in the criminal justice system, because that's what I designed Hype for. We can't talk about healing those youth without talking about oppression and helping them to understand how there are bigger systems at work. And at the time in '07, when I defended my dissertation, people weren't trying to have that conversation. Definitely not between '08 and like 2012. Nobody wanted to have the conversation of how oppression was impacting our youth because, racism didn't exist anymore. But the times that we're living in now, Hype has become that much more relevant. So I'm just blessed to be the vessel that it came through, and I love the work I do. As far as the political side, I have, like I said, I've always been engaged in politics from the grassroots side, and that's pretty much what opened up the door for me running for Congress in 2018. And we had a good run. I was a novice, green, straight out the gate, but I was hip hop. I tried to hide it, man. They told me don't be hip hop, and I tried my best. But the hip hop came through, and in the end, that was my weapon. And so I didn't have any plans to run again. I was going to get back into my organizing roots. But the people, were like, man, you're the candidate we want to get behind. And so I'm so thankful. And it took a lot of prayer and meditation for me to make that decision, because in my own mind, I'm like, no, but the spirit is like, yeah. And so thankfully, because in November 2019, who could have ever foreseen that 2020 would have been what it was? But I'm thankful that I listened to spirit and I qualified in November 2019, because I was able to be the rebellious type of candidate that not only we needed in Alabama, but the energy that we needed nationally. So I was at the protest, and I was campaigning in the midst of a pandemic, and was very much hip hop, had a rap song, music video, and everything. And in the end, we made history with the numbers, the vote count that I garnered. We didn't win, but we definitely made noise, and we're starting a movement we started a movement with a campaign that's still moving now throughout the state. So I'm excited to be here, excited to join in this conversation. Anything with hip hop, man, you know, that's me. This is my life. This is who I am. Hip hop is a spirit that it did more than save me. It gave me purpose. And again, I believe everything was destined. Like I was born in 79, the year that rap went on wax and went global. So everything is divine, and I'm just happy to be in the space. So thank you.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. And the truth is, I really just wanted to introduce these three people to each other. Like y'all just happened to watch this transaction. I just wanted them to know each other, right? So
Yes.
I just needed them to know each other, including our last panelist, Tatiana Lane, who is referred to Miss Tati. You see her here in a red hat. She's a brilliant young scholar and warrior and organizer, and also artist. Like she, you know, she cold for real. Like she rap for real. Like she's not like just like joking about it. So she's special in that like she wears both hats well. She's as a counselor and as an artist, and created an organization called Mental Health Meets Hip Hop. That I think is really poised to do some brilliant work in the city and beyond, and in Alabama and in Tanzania, right? So, Ms. Tati, please welcome to the conversation. Introduce yourself. Tell us about the organization and more about the work, please.
How you doing, guys? Nice to meet all of you. Like Dr. D, I'm also inspired by both of you, Dr. Alexis and Dr. Dia. So my name is Tatiana. I go by the name of Miss Tati. I'm not only a hip hop artist, I'm the founder of Mental Health Meets Hip Hop, and I'm also Associate Executive Director at a severe mental health rehabilitation facility on the west side of Chicago. Mental Health Meets Hip Hop was founded just by me using music to cope. I had a cousin that died by suicide. Hip hop was the only way I knew how to cope. Just writing. I built a studio in my parents' basement with my father some years back, and I just been creating music ever since. Mental Health Meets Hip Hop is just around not only using hip hop and the arts to put a magnifying glass on the way the urban community copes, but also to kind of broaden our denounce clinical terminology and just speak in the way that we speak. So it's more so about the culture to me, the language and the way we talk to each other and everything, just as I experienced growing up on the west side of Chicago. So we take mental health professionals from the inner city, so from the west side, south side, east side, and we put them on panels to help educate the community. I also do workshops. I have some called mental mindfulness and a couple of worksheets that I created to not only help individuals in the community navigate through emotional intelligence, but also to bring along the talent and the things that we possess to use to help us cope. Dr. Abari Cartman, he spoke on one of my panels at UIC last year. So I'm glad you invited me back, Dr. Cartman. So I really appreciate it.
I'm gonna keep inviting you back. It'll be a shame that we don't share some of your music at some point. I didn't even think that to have that queued up. Last time I had you like spit live, but I didn't have you prepared for that this time. But if you got some music you want to share, you can just do a screen share. You can do that at some point before we go. But we also have a featured artist every time we do this series. So there's a series. Every month we have a topic: hip hop, wellness, different topics. But we always gonna have artists. And so this time, our featured artist is one of my favorite rappers. Not even like in the city, like but like period. Her name Freddie O. So there's no better way to introduce her than to share some of her music. She texted me today talking about, you want me to be on a panel? You want me to perform? Like, should I wear a hat? Like, is it gonna be a DJ? And I was like, no, I got it. I'm going to play your music, and I just want you to talk. She has an incredible EP that just came out this year. I've been listening to it over, like, really 3 times a week at least. And the reason I'm gonna play a couple of songs. I got like 3 songs I'm gonna play for her. Just introduce before she says something. I want you to hear her music. And the reason that I want to do it that way is because when we get into the topic around some of the challenges, the imagery, the narrow, rigid version of what Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion represents on the Grammys, for example, or whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, there's a narrow representation in what popular music is and what Freddie also does, and just like a couple of minutes is represent the diversity of thought and ideas and content and topics that if we give women the space to share, that they'll talk about being a mother and being sexual and being angry and being a warrior and being oppression. Like all of the things will show up in the music. if we encourage it and support it. So that's what Freddie also represents to me. And I could show it better than I can describe it. So let me go back to my screen and do some show and tell. Freddie also, take one. I'll get into this.
$13 on my account, bitch. I'm in the line for food stamps and cash assistance, writing a Tumblr post about how I'ma get rich. This ain't no phones, I don't know why the fuck for. Security ugly, watching us all from the door. I see Puerto Ricans, I see black people. The floors are dingy, the government is evil. I lie and say I'm hungry and say I sleep on the couch. I lie and say I don't have a job and need food now. I tell them I am pregnant, the only truth from my mouth. They give me $3.50 in food stamps. I smile and then I bounce. Because apparently the more children you have, the more money you get in food stamps if you don't have a job. And I'm not getting paid for maternity leave. Motherfuckers need food. But this is a human right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's more. Hold on, y'all. I can do this all day.
Word up, know what I'm saying? I ain't fronting with nobody else. You know when Smitty give me the word, you know what I mean? I gotta let knowledge be heard.
Feel like the end of summer make a nigga feel more vacant than they is. We forced to stay inside, so niggas act like they more faithful than they is. They wanna see you win, but fitted should be more successful than they is. It's easy when it rains to go outside, that's when it's safe to cry your tears. Now tell me, on that Instagram and TikTok you was happy smiling. On some Rico nasty rain shit and your heart was violence. Crashing waves against your rhythm made it hard to glide in. All the extroverted party shit you sought to hide in. Shit's getting different, illusions ain't make believe. If you see it that way, then shattered glass can cut way too deep. I can tell that anxiety get best of you. Tell me what happens. Phone stop ringing, all them plans with your friends getting canceled. What about niggas in the prisons when weed ain't illegal? No more convictions or corona, they equally lethal. Bitch, I'm inside, I swear to God, I still ain't got a ceiling. Bitch, don't you build one, you ain't asked for my fucking permission. I feel like a nigga with an R when in Hyde Park. Them buildings used to be more cheaper than they are. Feel like a stranger in my hood while he pretending like the over east is his. Lori shut the summer down, I pray them guns to be more peaceful than they is. You know Chicago summers. Yeah, you know Chicago summers. Yeah, you know Chicago summers. Yeah, you know Chicago. We know Chicago summers. I could let go of the illusion. I could let go of what ain't is. I could let go of the illusion. I could let go of what I feel. We know Chicago.
There's more. Hold on. I'm not finished. I can do this.
Mommy, you finer than anything that I've ever seen. And you hood like 63rd selling Krispy Kremes. In the middle of the street, I am a conjurer, burdock roots and nettle leaves. Hoodoo doctors. Word to my father whose absence made me a goddess of liberation. My roots gonna be fruitful way past the harvest. Now watch me smoke plenty herb like I'm a roster. They saw Freddie was getting thick, and that's word to Alfredo Pasta. Damn, I was rapping plenty of conscious. The movement started to shift. Now I'm tired of speaking no problems. Bitch, you don't want smoke like shit can really get off. Or go from 0 to 100, how your ass looking like Donald. The sun is on my side when it rise, adjust your posture. My crib ain't got a ceiling, but your mom is that quite often. Got her own vegan shit, now she don't want to cook no sausage. Got the whole hood meditating, now CPD is demolished. Talk about power, I channel the highest form. When I die, I'm still in this bitch. Libations given from my son. His ass gon' light a candle whenever he get confused. That's what it means to build a legacy, and that's just what we do. Yeah, but you the finest thing I ever seen. Yeah, saw your ass on 63rd looking like a Krispy Kreme. Yeah, so you the finest that I ever seen. Yeah, I saw her ass on 63rd looking like a Krispy Kreme.
One more. This is the end of the Freddie Also Scotia introduction. I was saying.
God damn.
Highest the vocals on Minnie Riperton. These niggas ain't really interesting. I'm looking up to see you a star, but you not twinkling. So you lost in the vastness while I'm Angela Bassett. That's quite crippling. I got a diagnosis, arthritis and some motion. Let me make these potions. Don't ever sleep in the dark. I come like Freddy. Exterminate these niggas like a house that's full of fucking roaches. Kyle Rittenhouse, you gon' be needing mouth to mouth. Whoever put their lips on you, I'm blowing they fucking brains out. Bitch, this ain't the 60s. The guys come out faster than Janet Jackson's pretty titties. Calling for backup, I got a sweet tooth like Angelica. Put your snacks up. See, it's for cash, I'm a grown sister when it comes to my funds. You fuck around, be diabetic, thinking it's sweet. All my niggas extraterrestrial, can't fuck with human beings. Yeah. It's COVID outside, I ain't shaking hands. Some things are not for you to understand. Like that's your nigga, but he all up on my ass. Chill, 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 chill. This shit is easy, all my niggas come from the land. So you can't come to my city without a plan. He just a fan, somebody come and tell a man. Chill, chill, chill. Tell a man, chill, chill, chill. Tell your man, chill, chill, chill. Tell a man to chill, chill, chill. Yeah. Bitch, I'm as rare as a Rihanna drop. The way you fumble bags, your nickname should be Bumbleclot. Now how the fuck you trade a diamond for a fucking rock? You paying for her lace front and she still look like a tater tot. For you, that's tragic. You can't play a bitch that do magic. I know the thoughts before you have it in tune with my planets. Now I ain't speaking on no horoscope. I'm more like Zora Neale Cleopatra, help you manifest the shit you want. And if you still eating McDonald's, you part of the problem. Probably off your ass like Biden before you make it to office. I can't choose the lesser evil. I'm a fucking goddess. That's too much flavor like the contents in a cup of ramen. That's that Aquarius that never need a fucking sidekick. Bitch, I'm a warrior forever. I ain't talking Viking. Wakanda forever. Rest in peace to Chadwick. 2020 seemed like the devil posing to be a Baptist. Yeah. It's COVID outside. I ain't shaking hands. Some things are not for you to understand. Like that's your nigga, but he all up on my ass. Chill, 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 chill. This shit is easy, all my niggas come from the land.
There we go. Freddie Also. So it's so much easier for us to complain about stuff we don't like. It's so much easier to talk shit about what's on the radio, what the corporations are doing. I don't know why we don't just like support the things that we think are good for us. Like it seems like such a simple solution to all the things we complaining about. Like just find the people that's doing the good things and spend your media energy, your TikTok energy, your Facebook, and spend your energy there. And then we will build the movements and support the artists and the workers and the activists. Like we would just create the thing that we want to create. So it's worth it to me to spend time showing 4 different songs. Because if you hear Cardi B 4 different times on the ride home, you can hear Freddie Also new song that you ain't never heard before, right? So like it's not a waste of time to me just to showcase the things that I think are brilliant and beautiful. And so Freddie Also represents that in lots of ways. So she didn't know I was doing all that. I just asked her to come show up. But this, I just you know, you are the, you know what I'm saying, the solution to so many problems. I just wanted to show what that looks like. Show the so many different topics you're talking about. the angles you bring in, the personality, the like authenticity. We say like Cardi B keeping it real because she going to such an extreme, but like for me, keeping it real is having an honest explanation for all the different things that you're experiencing. And for music don't always do that. So thank you for doing that and doing it with skill.
Yeah.
Without further ado, Freddie, also please just let us know about some of your work, some of your inspiration. I met you at in an ELA, right? We met in spiritual studies, learning Orisha, and that shows up in the music, right? So like all these things are just, I'm always gonna support anything any way I can. I'm gonna stop talking. Freddie, also, you have anything you want to share to the group or?
Wow, you know what? First off, I have to say that you showing those videos in the order and the way in which you did reactivated, something within me. Kind of like, like, yes, of course, I'm myself and I've done all of those things, but sometimes you need it like laid out in front of you, like, look at in this time span, look at how you captured these moments in your life when things were not okay.
Yeah.
But look at how you just made that into something beautiful and something useful. So like when you showed the first video of me and my baby, like I was really struggling that day. I was really trying to get WIC for my baby. I was, really going through it. And for me to have captured that, even just the first video, it tells you a whole synopsis of everything that I'm about. Because for me and my music, it's not about documenting, okay, like this how fly I am. This is look at me, look at all of this. It's more so my ancestors speaking through me and me working and really like doing the work internally and also figuring it out through the rhyme. And somehow that magic is able to influence and help and heal others. So that's what I do. My name is Freddie Oso. Everybody call me Freddie. You find me on most places online as Freddie Farty, but I am a healer. I am a woman. I am a musician, an artist, an MC, a poet. I am a child of God. I am all of those things. So just to see how it manifests in the music, like you saying, like I speak on so many topics. I really try to capture everything that's going on within me and also listening to the streets, which is a big part of what I do because, I have my ear out for the community and translating and giving back and saying what it is that we want and not always being all kind and peaceful about it, but speaking on things in a way where it's kind of raw and it's kind of hard for you to listen to the truth sometimes, but just making sure I get that across. That's my main goal in my music. So that's me. Southside
That goal of success. To the extent that you are healing yourself in your own music in the moments that are difficult, that we feel in it too. I speak for myself that I feel better. I feel clearer. I feel more balanced when I hear your stuff. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we all here. We in place. Let's good. Let's get to it. Anybody last week? Did y'all see Cardi B's and Meg Thee Stallion's performance? I had it queued up. I don't necessarily have to play it. I don't know. I can just, do we need to watch it so we can?
I didn't see it yet. I mean, I didn't see it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Back to the video. So now we're gonna pivot. Gonna be a shift in the vibe, but it's important. It's important to talk about what our young people are watching, what is happening, the representation of Black women on the world stage. I think it means something. I don't always know what it means. I don't know what it means, but I don't think it's necessarily my place necessarily to figure out. So that's why I invited y'all to help walk us through this conversation. I have empowerment and it could be both, right? It don't have to be one thing. But to what extent does Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, in their performance on a stage like the Grammys, where the world is watching, where my elders and my grandmamas, or like where our people are watching this, what does it mean to them? What does it mean for us? And what does it mean? I'm particularly interested in what does it mean for my niece, who's 11, to have this be the popular image of what Black women do, and get rewarded for and awarded for at such a level. I ain't gonna play the whole thing. I'm just gonna give y'all a little taste of this. So this was on the Grammys a couple days ago. And it has sparked lots of conversation about what does it mean, what direction the genre and the community is headed, if this is what is the representation on such a stage of Black women. I don't have any thoughts. What do y'all think? I'll give a specific question. The specific question is, what are the ways that we can use the reality of this moment to extract the things that are good and powerful about it? And what are the ways that we need to, and the aspects of it that might be potentially damaging, that we need to protect ourselves? And what does that look like?
Can I start, please, before I forget this thought? Seeing women like be confident in their sexuality and who they are, and really just being that unapologetically, that's pretty hot. Megan Thee Stallion, the way she came in, you could tell that she was really being, herself. You could just feel like, okay, Megan, like, I see you, I feel your energy. But with Cardi B and with the whole performance in general, because yes, you can be sexually liberated and be who you are, but it is kind of funny, like, you're trying to keep up this image that would be just exhausting for for just any natural woman. Like, it's exhausting to literally like post and keep this image of like, this is what it is. Like, this is what you are working so hard, to become. Like, it's just fake. Like Cardi B, we could talk about, like, her body and all of that stuff, but I think the main thing is these images are being, like you said, portrayed as like the main course of like what it's all about. And it's just starting to get oversaturated. It's starting to get tiring. It's starting to get repetitive. Like, it's so many ways that you could capture and be empowered as a sexual like woman. But this specifically just looks, in my opinion, it just looks exhausting. It's unrealistic. And I could just imagine seeing that as a 12-year-old. And honestly, I don't even think that people like the music anymore. I think people just like doing the dances on TikTok at this point, which you just saw for yourself that Cardi B couldn't even do without damn near about to die. Like, once again, just a representation of how exhausting it is to keep up a specific image and not be realistic about, what hip hop, what performing, what the Grammys, or just anything, that they were doing represents. Like, yes, it's kind of crazy.
I just want to add to that, because I think too, when we talk about women in hip hop, we always say, it's over sexualized and stuff like that with Black women. But I think if we look at the overall bigger picture of it, African Americans really don't have a economic marketplace within music. So essentially, we don't own any of these platforms. So if you don't own any of the platforms, any of the any labels or anything like that, we're not the predominant owners of this. I think that the individuals that own it, they just portray this image of what they think Black women are or what we should be. So I think that's the overall view, because, like Freddie also said, they look kind of tired, but I think it's the business algorithm is that, okay, this image works. These people are going to do it because they basically need a job, right? A lot of these artists they make millions of dollars, right? So they need a job. So let's put them out there and to create this algorithm. not saying that, I mean, it's a reflection of some of our communities, but just to be honest, every day, every Black woman isn't walking down the street with 9-inch pumps on and a stripper, right? We don't really see that every day. But when we don't own these platforms, or when we sell our talent to other individuals that look at it more as an algorithm and money, I mean, this is the fruits of that. So, you know, because Cardi B, you know, they got songs called WAP, and there's some hoes in his house, but you know, she's married, you know, with a child, but she's never talking about this. A lot of these women are very business savvy, but when you're on somebody else's platform, you have to essentially do what your boss says. So if your boss is Jimmy Iovine, a Jewish guy, and he say, look, we have to drive these numbers up, then you know these women tend to just fit into the scope of it. I mean, Meg Thee Stallion, she's going to school to be an RN, but she's talking about WAP. So it's, I don't know how we get beyond the scope of the entertainment industry being an energy industry, whether as are these people really these type of women internally and trying to teach other young females to follow their lane. You know, I don't. It's a slippery slope when we discuss that aspect, but I don't know. That's just some of my thoughts with it.
Well, with me, it's just the whole exploitation, with piggybacking off of what you're saying, because like you said, we don't own this stuff, but you're willing to, because just because you're in this industry doesn't mean that's what you have to do. You know, you have the Jill Scotts, you have the Erykah Badu's, who's like, I mean, well, maybe that's a bad example because she did a video where she was totally naked, but you know, to me, still at the end of the day, like this was a award show. I mean, thank God I didn't watch it in real time with my daughter. I mean, I would have paused it anyway, but it's just still, it used to be you could sit and watch award shows, watch it with your family and sit and enjoy the music. So just to see that performance, when I rewound it and went back, it was like, are you serious? Like this is what we're getting rewards for. This is what's you get 7 awards for doing, popping your body and showing everything but your hoo-ha. Like this is where we're at now with music, and this is what our children are seeing and think it's cute, think it's okay. I'm gonna be the next Megan Thee Stallion. They're not saying I want to be Megan Thee Stallion because I want to be a nurse, I want to be about empowerment. They're saying I want to be her because she's making a lot of money. She's all over Instagram. She's all over the news. She's all over this. Oh, this is what I get to do to be famous. Nobody's paying attention to the other aspect of her because this is all you see pertaining to her behind out, grinding on the floor, the tongue out, all of that. Like, I get sexual empowerment, but to me, after a certain point, it's just exploitation. And what are you willing to do to just sell your body just to be known and get your name out there?
I have a different kind of take on it. I agree with Ed, but one thing I would add is you know, WAP broke records as far as the streams, and you know, we could talk about, you know, people, you know, how the industry works and the numbers aren't all that they seem, but at the same time it broke records, and the Grammys are highlighting the top music in the industry. And when you listen to the lyrics of WAP, the performance went with it, you know, and so there seems that we need to have a discussion about, I guess, balance, but then also kind of going back to what Dr. Alexis Davis found in her dissertation, that people are listening to it. Like they're going to say, no, I want to hear, you know, the empowerment music, but what are you really listening to? And, you know, is that so wrong? I mean, WAP is a nice song, but I'm 41. Like I'm fully grown with 4 teenagers, you know, so for me, I can get into it, but I do have a 13-year-old daughter that is a Meg fan, and I'd be like, we got to balance this thing out because it's a lot. But you know, just being real about it, it's kind of a problem in music, and not just with the women, with the men too. Now I'm getting older. I understand what some of the elders were concerned about with rap music in the 90s. A lot of things that we thought at that time was not a big deal. You know, the use of bitch, hoe, and nigga all the time that they cringed at and they just could not take it. And now it's just gotten progressively more vulgar. Like, you know, the more the time goes on, it just gets more vulgar. And with the women, it is, but with the men too. I mean, it just is another level. So I just think that conversations need to be had about that, or, you know, some kind of something where we reel it all back in, because it's not just a performance. I mean, it goes with what the words of the song are. And like other people said, it's like a trend, like all the new, or a lot of the new women rappers that are getting in the game, they're all kind of following this over sexualized blueprint, you know, and rapping about, you know, selling their bodies, or, you know, getting money for sex, and, you know, things like that. So I think it's like bigger than just a Grammy performance, because they wouldn't have been performing that song if it didn't do what it did. And then I also like to say, because we have, like you said, Dr. Cartman, we're highlighting what we love. I loved Lil Baby's performance. Like, I know we talk about women in hip hop, but that was really an empowering Grammy performance. And I think that what he did with his career at the time during the pandemic, you know, he raps about whatever he raps about, but in that moment, he took time to make a movement song. And the performance that he did was one of the best I've ever seen. So I'll throw that in there.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add to the conversation because Dr. Carmen knew I was gonna bring this up. So when I was about maybe between 10 and 12, I can't remember how old I was when Quiet Storm came out. But the remix, when Lil Kim said, "Hot damn ho, here we go again," like I was blown away, because first of all, that was the voice that sounded like mine. It was deep, it was raspy, and it was raw. And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a woman." And then I heard the lyrics that she was talking about, and I was like, "Wow." Like, whereas many other people may have looked at those lyrics and been like, "Whoa, she's sexually over the top at the time," right? For me, as a teenager who had been sexually molested, who had experienced sexual trauma, that was empowering for me to see a Black woman take ownership of her body in whatever way that she chose to do that. So I think we also have to be very mindful of what the messages are saying to the youth, because it's a reflection of their reality. And yes, we need a range. I like what you said, Dr. Dia, like allowing your daughter to like Megan Thee Stallion and then introducing her to like Freddie O. So introducing her to Tierra Whack or different dope artists who are doing, you know, great music in different types of ways. So I think that we have to be mindful of experiences that we had that lead us to these things. And yes, there is what Tati was talking about. I coined it European weaponization of hip hop. That occurs. And we also have to be mindful that we do have youth and Black girls who have experienced sexual trauma and who may be able to empower themselves through singing someone on their sexuality and having a guided conversation that says, what do you get from this? Because if we do not listen, we will continue to have the same conversation with no healing taking place. And we'll just dismiss a certain expression without understanding the root and etymology of the expression.
With the guided conversation, what should I be saying to my niece? It's not because I'm hearing don't censor. I could turn the Grammys off in the moment. It won't matter because she gonna find a way to watch it anyway. She on TikTok. She on whatever she on. Like she gonna find it. I need to help her process it. What is it? What is the healing conversation? Because we're not going to stop the Europeanization, and we're not going to break down the industry. In the meantime, while they have the power and we are being subjected to it, how can we use our skills, our connections, our families, our circles? Like, what are the aspects of the conversation that we need to be focusing on to make use of this?
Yeah, I think for me, the first step is taking ourselves out of the way, right? So my niece, when City Girls Act Up came out, oh my God, I was like, that was her jam, and I was just like, oh my God, in my mind, like she liked the City Girls. Oh my God, let me check in on my niece, and so I had to take myself out of the way and just ask her, well, what do you relate to about these lyrics? And so she was just like, ain't nobody gonna try me. I mean, I'm gonna stand on 10 down. I can take care of myself. I have to. So then I was like, okay, that makes sense. So tell me what you hear when you hear this lyric. What does that mean? Like just asking open-ended questions and not saying you're not supposed to be listening to this. This is this type of music. This is because then you take away our youth expression, their identity development, taking away the opportunity for them to actually hone in on their voices and be able to say, this is what I like, why I like it, because they know. It's really sometimes us that get in the way of allowing expression and understanding because we can't handle a certain thing. And it's nothing wrong with saying, well, I had this reaction when I listened to it and I was just curious what what you were getting from this. But to go in and say, I remember I was listening to Little John and the East Side Boys on my, the non-skip CD player. And my auntie asked me, well, what are you listening to? And so I was like, oh God, she put the CD in the car CD player, and my granny in the car, everybody. So Little John East Side Boys, come on, y'all know it was not censored at all. So she threw the CD out of the window and we never had a discussion about it. You know what I mean? So for me, I always felt like, well, I can't even talk about my music because it's just not an okay thing. If I listen to this, I can listen to a certain type of music out loud, but I gotta listen to my Lil' Kim by myself. I gotta listen to my, the other things. So then I wasn't able to share part of my identity with my family. So now as an adult, when it's coming out full-fledged, they're like, well, where is this? I'm like, it's always been there. You just chunked it out the window. You know what I mean? So I think we also have to be very mindful of how we cultivate the conversations and not shunning our youth for developing their identity, which we all have the right to do.
Yeah. I love it. That's so good. But developing under identity under attack, are there unique considerations we need to consider? Is there some urgency to the protecting from the European oppression part of this? Or because otherwise it's what accepting and going with it? Is there something about this that needs to be a part of the Black Lives Matter fight or a part of the radical movement? Should we be fighting against the industry? And what would that look like?
No.
Fighting against something that was made specifically to do this. It makes absolutely no sense. If you're going to, live a certain way, for me, and I have children, they're not of age where they're gonna look at this and really ask specific questions, but I'm not I can't hide the world from them. I'm just not gonna do it. I feel like there are specific pillars. I see pillars. I'm a very visual person. I see 4 pillars, literally. And me and my children are in the land of wellness, and it's I'm gonna give them a foundation that a foundation that they need in order to see the world and then judge and fit, and see however they see fit. But there is going to be a foundation. There's going to be representation. There's going to be a wide range of things that they are exposed to before they're just exposed to what you might see on the Grammys, So when it comes to spirituality, when it, already my child sees me doing my ancestor work. What are you doing? My children are going to be exposed to so much. I'm not about to give these European standards that much power and molding my child. But you're gonna know the truth when you see it. I'm not gonna lie to you. And as a I'm a woman now, but I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. I was 14 years old when I lost my virginity. And I lost my virginity and I didn't even realize that I lost my virginity to somebody that was way older than me. And I had no clue. And I'm literally looking back wait, did this really happen to me? But my mama never talked about sex at all. My mama never taught me about discernment. She never taught me the things to look out for. She kind of just let me go out there and experience. It was no foundational, truth to protect me when I'm out there and I'm being presented with certain things. So
No, I don't think we're supposed to fight these European standards at all. But I think it starts in the home with how we raise our children so that when they go out in the world, it's like, what's that? Like, you weird. Like, like they're gonna make those decisions for themselves. And if you create a space where they can talk to you, wow, the things that you will like learn about them that will in turn teach you how to treat them.
Yeah.
Know how to be there for them. The fighting is not gonna get us where we need to go.
Yeah.
I hear it. This is mature as fuck, and your kids are lucky to have you. Y'all are really brilliant, and there's some kids that are not gonna have you. There's gonna be some kids that never come into your office, into your house. There's gonna be some children that are more exposed to what the Europeans have constructed for them than watching you in your ancestors' shrine. What about those kids? Do we have a responsibility to at least protecting them from the imagery in some way? Because it's a scary moment, because like they putting the earphones directly into their minds. So like we're losing that interruption moment. The corporations have direct access right into the brains of the developing mind of our young people. We can interrupt as much as we can, and I certainly agree. In my house, I can do that. But then I meet these 16-year-old, 25-year-old, 40-year-old men that did not have you, that did not have anybody else to correct them or expose them to other things, and they damaged, like broken.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wonder about them. Like, what is our responsibility to those that don't have a house like you have?
I want to add real quick to that, because we always use like the European platform and things like that, but we always overlook the stuff that's going on in our communities, right?
Right.
So what the European is doing on TV, we have a level of control over that, and it's called the remote control. We can turn it off. But when you go outside of some of our urban communities, I mean, you see the pimps and the drug dealers and the prostitutes, where you're not getting influenced by Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B. But we all know people in the community. I mean, I'm from the West Side. Well, it's streetwalkers all up and down Madison. So we have to band together as a community and fight in the house first. Because if we focus on what the media doing, what the Europeans are doing outside of the house, while the house is in disarray, we have to focus on that. We have to build up our community with us first. So it takes individuals like all of us panelists that's here and everybody in this room to go out and do our part in our community. So therefore, that's where that balance go. So little girls are seeing women that are in positions of power, that's executive directors and starting things like that. We have to make that more so of a balance, where we're turning off the TV and turning down the radio.
That's a good point.
I definitely agree with that. I wanted to jump in because that's kind of where my mind was going too with your question. And also, someone else said it earlier, just how hip hop is being weaponized. And that is a lot of my messaging now with what we're doing politically throughout the state of Alabama. In our rural communities, gun violence and murder is at an all-time high. And how much of that is being impacted by the music, like you're saying, is going directly into the mind. So how do we use the origins of hip hop, what our culture really is about, the fact that we were built on a virtue of peace, and taking control of that and changing the narrative? Because I see people in the chat saying, about radio, and radio does push a narrative, but kids don't listen to radio no more. Like they are listening to whatever they're streaming, and we have, and at least here in Alabama, it's probably the same. In Chicago, they're tapped into artists I have no clue about, people that are not signed, local artists. And so these are people that are easy to get to. So for the movement that we're starting here or continuing here in Alabama, we're locking in with these artists now and educating them, because they don't know. They don't understand the power of their voice and understand how they are being used and co-opted to poison their own people, and letting them know who they really are. Because even Cardi, she's young. Megan is young. They don't know. They want to get money. What was we trying to do, in our early 20s? We was trying to make it, So, but just us understanding this moment and not letting it slip by and gaining control while we still can.
I love it. That's so smart. I want to make sure we have some space to invite other people to chime in at least a couple minutes before y'all get some closing remarks. We got like 12 minutes left, low key, which is fast. There's a couple things I wanted to share. I'm gonna skip them all, but you know, just to put on the table, there's the Throw Baby songs. There's another video I wanted to play with Chance that he did last year where he'd had a stripper song post the marriage, post the Christian album. He still found whatever the pressure it was to do a stripper song, and I don't know if we let men too off the hook. I know I read an interview from the Throw Baby dude saying that he loves his sisters and his mother, and he was just doing it for fun. It's just entertainment. But you know, I really want us to really think about, while even the men or the women are doing it for money or entertainment, what is the impact that's happening to our communities, and what are some things that we can do? What are the healing conversations that we can have so that we can continue to build up our arsenal of, you know, resistance to whatever the European gonna do, because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. We need to be respond to that. So I appreciate y'all taking the angle. But I want to open the floor though. Give at least 5 minutes. If anybody else has any comments they want to chime in. I know the chat's been popping, but if anybody wanted to get off the mic and come on video to ask a question or to respond to any of these things, or to add something, or to recommend some music, whatever it is, you're welcome to do so at this time. Otherwise, I got much more things to show and share and questions to ask, but I don't want to monopolize. Does anybody in the community have anything they wanted to say, to share, to add? Any comments that are in the chat that wanted to speak out loud or ask any questions to the panelists? This is speak now or forever hold your peace time. Okay, cool. Let me do this then. I want y'all feedback on this. This is an interview. Oops, we're talking about Cardi. This is an interview that I share with young men.
I think Justine had a question. She's
okay. You got it. I would ransack this thing. Okay, go ahead, Justine. You muted. If you can, I can't hear you. It don't say it's muted, but like maybe take the headphones out or something. Whatever, it's not registering your mic. Still nope, nothing. You muted now. You want to try it again one time? Okay, that's cool. She'll put it in the chat. Is it a question for the panelists? I don't want to run over this thing. Our time's gonna go fly by quick.
One thing, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my question was, when you guys were talking about, you know, like no censorship, having foundation, reflecting within our community, about the whole performance that we just saw, right? And my question is protecting having the conversation, or is it more like saving the person? And that's where I was just coming from with that question for the panelists. Is that
y'all get that? Panelists?
I don't think I fully get the question, the actual question.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. That's why I'll give it to y'all.
Is the protection piece actually having conversations with the youth who take in the music, or healing the person who produces the music? Justine, is that what you're asking?
I would say, I feel like it would have to come from, you know, it's about the youth, because once again, people gonna play whatever role they want to play. Everybody got their decisions and what they want to choose to be a representation of, whatever you want your vessel to be a representation of. So for me, I don't really see a need to try to heal Megan Thee Stallion. Like, she got millions of dollars. That's her healing. Like, she good, like, she's not gonna. But for the youth and how they take it in, the ways they take it in, and I really like what Obari mentioned, that I wasn't thinking about was what about, the community, the people that don't have access to certain things. And I just really think the programs, the mental awareness programs, the just period in the community all over, it needs to be a thing for the youth. So I feel that's the only way that, as long as you get the representation, that there is many ways to show your power and your sexual power.
Yeah.
We could teach our youth about aligning ourselves, aligning our sacral energy, and what that means and how to, do that. So yeah, I would just say the focus is on the youth 100%.
And I want to add real quick. I'm gonna be really quick with it. Far as with music is self-expression, right? So the way that we tell people how to express themselves can also be damaging. So like Cardi B came from a history of being a stripper, but yet we use music to kind of cope with our reality. So it's kind of like that reverse psychology thing, right? I was a stripper, but still I climbed up the ladder and I made it this far. So although she's being sexually explicit, I mean, I think Cardi B still kind of, she talk about marriage sometimes. She talks about being a mother and things like that. But it's up to us as a community to teach our kids that balance, that identity balance, right? Because these people still are artists and they're expressing themselves and they're kind of empowering themselves. So maybe they're empowering strippers. Just because you're a stripper and you came from this, whatever society's judgment is about strippers, well, you a stripper, maybe she's saying, I'm a stripper, look where I made it at. So how do we keep that balance between a person coping? This is the way they cope, like Tupac. They, label him as a thug. You're a young black man from the ghetto, you a thug, but at the same time too, he was an activist. So how do you judge, these people's expression without putting some type of liability on the community? I feel like, the youth today, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, shouldn't be a role model. It should be up to the parents. If the parents not there, it should be the community. It takes a village to raise a child. So as a village, we have to stand around and create that balance. Look, Cardi B them, they, life is about choices. Who are you? What's your identity, right? You see Cardi B, this is where she came from. But hey, you see Dr. Dia, you see Dr. Alexis, you see Freddie O, so you see Miss Toddy. Who are you, right? So we always got to be careful with that, in my opinion, in judging people's artistry.
Agreed, Tati. I think it's a both and situation. Of course, I do feel like the youth are a priority, and I feel like the artists also, there has to be some healing at that level as well, because there'll still be consumption of their music. So I feel like there's both and not changing their expression, Tati, because I agree with that. Just honing in on how can I express this in the most healing way for my community. I also think that we have to get out of the mindset of like seeing everything through a European lens. I think that we have to have more conversations about the African origin of hip hop and the connection between African spirituality and hip hop and how these things come out as an expression of who we are. And because we carry and we walk with our ancestors, then they'll manifest through us in different ways. And we all need to see those different manifestations to connect the dots of who we are around the diaspora, not just in certain places, right? So I think that we have to be very mindful of when these things come up, examining what does this mean for our culture and where do we need to go in terms of doing work ancestral healing.
I co-sign everything that my sisters just said, top to bottom. I fully agree. And again, this is why the work that we're doing is important, and not just the work, but us in our being and us living the lives that we're living. Because as much as I do things with intention, and I'm Dr. Dia with hype, and now, Dr. Winfrey, the candidate, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 4 kids that have been with me the whole time through this whole journey. And I didn't really realize how much just me and my being was inspiring people and how much that really got people on my team. And so just us living and having our stories and living out our stories is a powerful tool that can impact the youth and also impact people who have platforms, whether they're millionaires or just the people in the hood that have the ear and the attention of our youth. It's important that we tap into all of that.
I love it. We got 2 minutes. I have a request since I'm the DJ today. Can we end this with some bars? Miss Tati, Freddie, y'all want to share something with the group? Give us the finale. I feel like I can't have the last thing that I play be Cardi B and Meg. I just can't. That be the last frequency that is emitted. So instead of playing some stuff, I know it's totally putting you on the spot, but y'all professionals. You want to do something? So
I'll do
close it
something.
out today. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a queen like Latifah, the Black Mona Lisa. Down to the 8s, I leave my trap like I'm Caesar. This just in, and they ain't talking about Bieber. I'm sicker than sickle cell, syphilis, and eczema. A lot of people hate, a lot of people fake. It's a shame that they look like you or turn your dog to a snake. I don't know, just freestyle a couple of bars. Y'all want some more? Some more positive? Looking in the mirror, staring at an image, thinking about beauty and what really is it? I know the definition, but definitions is different. Is it based on your pigment or freckle positions? Your face, your waist, your weight, or your shape? Is it short curly hair or is it long and straight? Is it really how you look or the things that you say? The God you choose to pray to or the people that you date? Because I've been covered up in bruises, bumps, and scrapes. Proud crooked smile that disallow my face, overweight with freckles that I can't erase, birthmarks on my body that I can't replace, fingers and toes that I can't reshape, that I wouldn't create because it's no mistake. Accepted all the flaws that I used to hate, beauty in the eye of the beholder, so hold your place.
Yes. I love it. Black women are the best thing on the planet. I'm convinced. Black women are gods. Thank you so much. Freddie, you want to end on something real quick? I know I see you moving around. I ain't wanted to give you the.
It'd be like, give me a second while I gather myself. I stumble for righteous steps towards Creator. I hope He's there waiting patient. All this noise I can't focus with. Like how you need a bus card but got a selfie stick. I wait. Eyes turning green, smoking more trees, making sure I eat all the spinach and parsley. I ain't partially admitting my demons chilling in jizz eating apples with naked women that's proud of their figures. And all I see is green everywhere. Finna try to open portals with my hands. Got a galaxy in my head. Ori, adore me. I crave the mission that you planned for me. I know I messed up, but wait, well, there's really no excuse. I was focused on money, everything except for you. All I'm asking now is for words that can aid me while I'm confused and a green light in my womb.
I love it. Bars. Both of y'all. Thank y'all so much. We over time. Thank y'all so much, Dr. Dia, Dr. Davis, Ms. Tati, Freddie Freddie also, and everybody else that joined us tonight. I know the chat. We're gonna say the chat, send it to everybody. Make sure y'all give your information so people can find you. The best way to contact you. We'll linger on for a couple minutes so people can make sure they copy and paste or whatever they need to. We're gonna wrap here. We'll see y'all next month. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks for coming. See you soon.
Thanks, y'all. Let's link up.
True.
Yes, please follow me on IG and let's connect, exchange information. MentalHealthMeStepOut.com, also through Dr. Abari Cartman. Thank you, Abari. He's going to connect all of us. Thank you, Nakia. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.